Do you contribute to a 401k plan? I hope the answer to that question is yes, because it is going to make a difference being able to retire or possibly having to work for the rest of your life. When it comes to 401k plans, they are the largest retirement accounts that we have as Americans. The consistent and constant contributions to those accounts can make them really grow. But at some point, it might have a decision if you want to continue increasing contribution limits into the 401k plans, or if you want to make investments into IRAs, into other investment tools, and where does it make sense? So in today's video, we're going to be looking at 8 reasons to rethink how much savings you're putting into that 401k and what your contribution limit is to that. Starting with our first one, your employer does not match contributions. Now, unfortunately, for some smaller companies, they might not have the ability or the option to have a 401k plan. And even some companies don't offer a match at all. They might be administrators, they might offer a 401k plan, but the company itself is not kicking anything in there that is going to benefit you for retirement. If a company is offering 4% and you're putting in 4%, you are getting a 100% return on your money, which is the reason you absolutely want to do it. But again, if they don't offer any employer match, you might want to reconsider where you're putting your money. Now, the second one we look at this, when you look at your 401k plan, the fees could be too high. We see a lot of plans as part of the 401k that could be set on autopilot, that comes with a fee. Self-directed comes with a fee, could have monthly fees, could have annual fees. You have to know exactly how much you're paying for the privilege of having that 401k. A lot of those do come with administrative fees, but hopefully those are really low fees, which again, most 401k companies do have, but you also do have to know exactly what you're paying for, what you're getting out of it, and what the benefit is. Now, when it comes to a 401k plan, some of the investments are horrible. I have seen some target date funds that are absolutely horrible, or you have a super limited ability to buy anything but mutual funds. There are a lot of plans out there, and of course, you can invest better outside of the company 401k. For a lot of individuals, this is where I say do your own research. You have to know what is offered by your 401k plan. You also have to know exactly what it looks like, where a traditional IRA or a Roth IRA might be a better option as an investment vehicle because of that growth factor versus that 401k. Now, even though you can put a lot more money into the 401k, if it's invested in something that it really doesn't grow, or you're not seeing the growth that you need to get ready for retirement, again, that IRA option might be a big one. Now, when it comes to IRAs, I cannot say this number 4, saving big with a Roth. When it comes to a 401k and a Roth, I like the Roth variation in its entirety. I do the same when it comes to my 401k plan. I personally put everything in the Roth. When it comes to my IRA, I put everything in the Roth. The reason being, there is no point when you add in the growth factor, unless you're already in retirement or very close to retirement, that you're not going to see more of a return from the Roth by paying the taxes up front. Almost any tax bracket that you really break this out. So let's say, for instance, from 25 to 40, you're in a higher tax bracket. You're in a 24% tax bracket. Chances are when you get to retirement, you might not be in that 24% tax bracket. The bracket you're falling might be a little bit lower. However, when you start adding in 20 to 25 years of the compounding growth that we're seeing with these 401k plans and with these IRAs, the numbers get so astronomically high when you start getting all of the compounding, when you start getting into the higher dollar figures. Now you have to pay tax on everything. If you are in a traditional plan, if you are in a traditional IRA or a 401k, you now have to pay tax and take required minimum distributions on everything you have in there, which of course includes that 25 years of growth before you got into retirement. Also is going to include, while the money grows the next 20 to 25 years into retirement until you pass away, which estimated 89 years old, 90 years old where people are living to. It's kind of crazy to think, but again, putting it into the Roth variation, paying the taxes upfront today to have that free growth and really freedom with your money when it gets into retirement does make a big difference. Always, always, again, as a financial counselor, I always offer and really recommend doing that Roth option. Now, when it comes to putting money into the 401k, you can contribute to an emergency fund. This is number 5. So if you're putting money into the 401k and you have nothing, or you're running net negative, you might have to temporarily adjust the contributions in there to get your finances in order. You need to be the point where you want to have a stress-free retirement, but of course you don't want to go ahead and really put all your money into one basket, or put all the dollar you have it into retirement accounts versus being able to pay the bills you have yourself. This, of course, properly budgeting, living within your means, making sure the financial survivability, and really you can derail your entire financial well-being with a very hefty expense if you don't have that emergency fund, if you don't have it in place. So the way that I look in the order of operations that I do, number one, getting that employer match. Number two, building up and putting money in that emergency fund. That is going to protect you financially if anything should happen. So number six, you might want to save towards other goals, which of course, putting money towards retirement makes a big difference. Now, maximizing the retirement, and honestly, it's almost kind of a double-edged sword, where if you're putting 15, 20, 25%, if you're maxing out that 401k plan, doesn't mean you're sacrificing everything else. Remember, every dollar that goes into that 401k plan is a dollar that you cannot spend or utilize elsewhere. So you want to make sure that there is a happy medium in there, that you're enjoying your life. You're not just putting everything towards retirement at the detriment of no vacations, no enjoyment, no holidays, nothing else. Once you have that emergency fund covered, what other financial goals do you have in life? It could be a wedding, it could be a vacation, could be a trip, kids' education. If you're putting everything into that 401k and you're not leaving anything else in its entirety to anything, really anyone else, you want to make sure, and you might want to pull back some of those 401k funds that you're making those contributions. Now, number seven, you have to pay down debt. When it comes to the growth factor, when it comes to being financial free, when it comes to financial education, debt is the number one priority outside of that company match and the emergency fund. You have to pay down debt. When you start thinking of high interest debt, you are running 20, 25% interest. There is not an investment that I'm aware of that is going to guarantee you a 25% return year over year over year, like we see with credit card debt. Credit cards at this point are $1.14 trillion in credit card debt as a nation. And when you think about that at a 25% rate, it is astronomical, the interest that we're paying. Now, of course, it views it a little bit different when you think about credit card debt versus having a little bit low interest. And we're talking about auto loans, mortgages, things of that nature that are secured by collateral, focusing and really paying down debt in its entirety when it comes to credit cards, when it comes to that high interest debt. That, of course, is going to be the first thing that you're eliminating. Then looking at personal loans, student loans, auto loans, things of that nature. And the very last thing that I would recommend, well after you have a fully funded, or you're putting it towards a fully funded retirement, is knocking out and really eliminating that mortgage. And the final one we look at is balancing the past in the future and the present. This, of course, are some really big things to remember. We don't know exactly what the future is going to bring. We don't know what it's going to look like. Putting money into a 401k makes sense as it sits today. It is a great practice that we see, again, with the Roth variation, which I recommend, because we don't know in the next 15, 20, 25 years exactly what the tax brackets are going to look like. What is going to be retirement? Are you going to have enough to buy a house? What do you like to shop? What kind of retirement are you looking for? There are so many questions when it comes to retirement savings, but I've never heard anyone say, you know what? I saved a little bit too much money. Now during retirement, I can do whatever I want. I can leave it to my kids. I can pay for my grandkids because I saved too much money. And again, I don't think there's a point where, short of detrimental personal and really the present, that you can really not or save enough money for that. You need to decide how you want to invest your money, what kind of retirement you want to have, what kind of goals you're going to have during that. And of course, what is going to be the future needs? What are you forecasting that you're going to need kind of on a monthly basis? So you make sure you have enough of those retirement funds to go ahead and get everything done. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. 8 reasons to rethink exactly how much you're saving in that 401k. But let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll catch you in the next video.